back to Journey into Stories. Today I was able to do a Journey Reads, and this will explain why I have pushed myself to get through the 8 Bridgerton books. At the end of last week, I believe during the weekly check-in, I set a goal to read at least one more Bridgerton book before today. And I pushed myself to read the last 3 books to do what I wanted to do. I've kept it a secret, but I was able to go to Romance Genre Con, one of the libraries that is within driving distance, host, and their featured author and speaker was Julia Quinn. And this is a little pamphlet I picked up while I was there. We got there after driving quite a while, and I did get upset at the beginning, and but it worked out fine. We got there, we gave him our name. My husband also went with me because he's better at driving distances than I am. And the first lady said, "You're not signed up for this." There was 4 parts we had to sign up for, and we were signed up for every day, but we only wanted to go to the event where Julia Quinn was speaking. The librarian couldn't find our name, so she passed us on to somebody else. They couldn't find our name on the list, so then they put us in a room with about 10 other people at the time, and apparently something happened. A lot of us who signed up were not on the list, and so had a moment where I got really upset, not at any of the librarians, but just I really wanted to do this video. I worked really hard over the past, I don't know how many weeks, to get through my Bridgerton series. So then we were in this room, and they said, if there's seating, we'll get you in if some people didn't show up. And I'm like, I really want to get in, because if we couldn't get into the auditorium, then we couldn't have books signed, and each attendee was able to get 2 books signed by Julia Quinn. And so even though I brought all 8 of them, I couldn't decide what 4 books I wanted to have signed, 2 for me and 2 for my husband. So then the people showed up, and there was room in the auditorium. So by that time, there were about 50 of us in the room, and they brought us all in, and I was thankful. Did I have a moment of tears in the beginning, thinking I wasn't going to get to meet her? Yes, I did. I really had been looking forward to this. So we were able to get into the auditorium. Thankful to all the librarians that helped us. They were all wonderful. They put on quite the show, bringing wonderful authors to Romance Genre Con. We were able to listen to her talk for, I think it was 45 minutes, and people were able to get up and ask questions. So I was able to finish the last chapter of the book while I was there, and we got to meet Julia Quinn. I told her I loved her, I never know what to say to people. I always we love you, everything, and love your books. Thank you for coming to this library and giving people a chance to meet you and have you sign their book. Loved the stories. She actually said she liked my sweatshirt, which was nice. A lot of people said they liked my sweatshirt, and I bought it to do a different video series originally, where I wanted to read a book and compare it to each season of the show, but this worked out even better. What I'm going to do is show you clips of our morning where we got to meet Julia Quinn and listen to her speak. And when I say she was so incredibly wonderful, she's so nice, kind, just loved hearing stories. It was a lot of fun, and it turned out everything worked out well. We were able to meet her. We were able to get the books signed. There were books there that you could buy of hers. Stay tuned for the clips, and hope you enjoy this version of Journey Reads.
I have plenty of questions, and I have to say I've been on your website, done a little bit of research, and I see that before you became a writer, that you were in medical school.
I was in medical school, very briefly, but I was, long enough to dissect a human backside. That's where you start. At least at Yale, that's where you started on the backside. And
to go into writing? Is it a passion you always had, or something hit you and you went, this is it?
you know, I think, people always ask, why did you become a writer? It's because I was a reader. And I think all writers started out as readers. Not every reader becomes a writer, but I've yet to meet a writer who didn't start out as an avid reader at some point in their life. And I had always sort of written, and I don't know that it ever occurred to me that I could be a writer as my profession as opposed to who also writes. And I ended up pursuing, writing my first novel at the same time I was doing my pre-medical courses, because I didn't do them during college because I just didn't have my act together. And I ended up getting into medical school the same month that I got my first book deal. And it was a really exciting month. And I ended up deferring medical school because I knew once I got started I wouldn't be able to do the writing, and I deferred for another year. And then I kind of panicked. I had what I call my mid-20s crisis, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm not qualified to do anything. All my friends were going to graduate school. And I think this shows you how narrow my worldview was, because I'd already had 3 books published, which is like the dream, right? But I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, if this doesn't work, what am I gonna do in my life? I have no, credentials. There are a lot of things people are like, why did you do this? And I was like, I don't know. There's this big thing, like, I saw a meme or something where someone says, her name is literally Pen Feather, and nobody picked up that she was like a gossip columnist. Sorry, I don't think that's a spoiler anymore, so. And I honestly didn't notice that when I did it.
I think it's very important to ask a couple of writing questions for you writers out there. So, are you a planner, or as they say, a pantser? You fly by the seat of your pants.
I'm somewhere in between, but closer to a plotter. I do write kind of a detailed outline or synopsis before I start, which doesn't mean I stick to it exactly, but I do it. And the reason I started doing that was because it was required by my contract, and I had to do it in order to get paid. What has happened to these characters before page 1? I want to know, are they the oldest? Are they the youngest? Do they have brothers and sisters? What tragedies may have befallen them? And of course, one of them will have had a tragedy in their life at some point, probably. And I need to know all this in order to create fully realized characters. And there may be things that pop up in that outline or synopsis, whatever you want to call it, that don't ever make it in the book, but I know it, and I think it just helps me to know them better, and if I know them better, I can present them more fully to you. So that's the biggest part of the outline that I do.
So let's talk about the characters. So the characters have been picked. Do you find yourself now, when you read your books or talk about them, that you've got the actors now in your mind?
Oh, completely. Yes, and here's the thing, I'm not a very visual author, which is probably why, if you actually read my books, there's not a whole lot of description. I mean, I'll say, okay, this person has this color hair and this color eyes, but and maybe like height, but I really don't go much beyond that, which maybe helped it to translate to television better, or at least for me to have no trouble with the casting. And I don't generally reread my books unless I have to look something up, mostly because by the time I finish writing it, I have read it so many times that, you're sort of like, this is so predictable. And I'm not just talking about how we all know there'll be a happy ending. I'm like, I could just tell you every word, because I've read it 100 times. Oh,
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day and be kind to yourself and be kind to one another. Thanks, guys.